Hey, Dinar Ninja here. This is an article from Al Jazeera, and the title is Iran to Confront Any Threat as Trump Warns of Obliteration. Okay, and it says Iran will respond firmly to any U.S. threat against it, a spokesman of the country's foreign ministry has said after President Donald Trump warned it of obliteration if a full-scale conflict would ensue. We will not allow any violation against Iran's borders. Iran will firmly confront any aggression or threat by America, spokesman Abbas Mousavi told the semi-official Tasnim news agency on Saturday. Tensions between Tehran and Washington have spiked since Thursday when an Iranian missile destroyed a U.S. Global Hawk surveillance drone flying near the Iranian coast. Tehran said the drone was shot down over its territory, and Washington said it occurred in international airspace. Regardless of any decision they, U.S. officials, make, we will not allow the Islamic Republic's territory to be violated, Mousavi said. Under pressure to respond to the high-stakes incident near the strategic Strait of Hormuz, Trump said the United States was prepared to hit 3 different sites on Thursday night, but that he scrapped the strikes 10 minutes before they were to have been launched. I asked, how many people will die? 150 people, sir, was the answer from a general, the president tweeted, adding he concluded it would not have been proportionate to shooting down an unmanned drone. In an interview with NBC's Meet the Press at the White House on Friday morning, Trump said he had not given final approval to strikes against Iran and that no planes were in the air. But they would have been pretty soon, and things would have happened to a point where you wouldn't turn back or couldn't turn back, he said, adding that he did not want war with Iran, but if it came to pass, there would be obliteration like you've never seen before. The U.S. president had struck a combative tone in initial comments on Thursday about Iran shooting down the Global Hawk surveillance aircraft, but as the pre-dawn incident whipped up fears of open conflict, Trump moved to dial back tensions. Iran vowed on Friday to defend its borders after downing the drone, with the commander of the aerospace arm of its elite Revolutionary Guard, or the IRGC, saying the aircraft was warned twice before it was engaged over the Gulf of Oman. And it denied a report that Trump had warned it via Oman of an impending attack unless it was willing to negotiate. The U.S. Special Representative on Iran, Brian Hook, accused Tehran of rejecting diplomatic overtures to de-escalate regional tensions. Iran needs to meet diplomacy with diplomacy, not military force, Hook told reporters in Saudi Arabia. Amid the tensions, Trump late on Friday nominated Mark Esper to be Secretary of Defense, one of the most powerful posts in the U.S. government, and a key advisor to the president as Washington navigates the dispute with Iran. The U.S. has not had a full-time defense secretary since the resignation of James Mattis in December last year. Esper, who was elevated to acting Pentagon chief this week, still needs to be confirmed by the Senate. On the streets of Tehran, anxiety over a potential war was added to residents concerned over crippling U.S. sanctions. For me, the situation is already worrying because the economic state of the country is bad, and the possibility of war frightens me, said Amir, a shopkeeper who withheld his last name. Iran said on Friday it had presented the Swiss ambassador, whose country represents U.S. interests in Iran, with indisputable evidence the drone violated Iranian airspace. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration has barred American civilian aircraft from the area until further notice, and major non-U.S. airlines, including British Airways, KLM, Lufthansa, Qantas, Emirates, and Etihad, and said they were altering flight paths to avoid the sensitive Strait of Hormuz. The Pentagon said the Global Hawk drone, one of the most expensive pieces of equipment in U.S. arsenal, costing over $120 million apiece, was 34 kilometers from Iran when it destroyed by a surface-to-air missile in an unprovoked attack. It published a map of the drone's flight with the path indicating it avoided Iranian waters, but Tehran provided its own map showing the aircraft inside its territory when it was downed by a domestically manufactured Khordad 3 air defense battery. The shoot-down came with Iran already accused by Washington of carrying out attacks on tankers in the congested shipping lanes heading out of the Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran denies any involvement. Trump has repeatedly said he does not favor war with Iran unless it is to stop the country getting a nuclear weapon, something Iranian leaders insist they are not pursuing. But critics say his policy of maximum pressure, including the abandonment of an international deal to regulate Iran's nuclear activities, economic sanctions, and deployment of extra troops to the region, make war even more likely. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi warned on Friday of an extremely dangerous and sensitive situation, but said she was absolutely pleased with Trump's decision not to carry out the attack. Candidates for the Democratic presidential nomination also expressed concerns, with Senator Bernie Sanders warning war with Iran could lead to endless conflict in the region, and Senator Elizabeth Warren urging to step back from the brink of war. And that's all I have for now. Thanks for tuning in.